Good morning, my dear students. I am Jitin, your social science teacher. We see again after 10 days. I hope all of you are fine at home. I welcome you all to this class. In this class, we will continue with the 13th chapter of our environmental studies textbook, that is A Shelter So High. I had taken some portions of this chapter and we will continue the remaining portions. So, what did we learn until now? We learned about a traveler. We read about the traveler Gaurav Jani who is from Mumbai. Gaurav Jani is a person from Mumbai and he wanted to get rid of from the noisy, busy city of Mumbai. So he is planning a trip to Leh. Where is Leh? Leh is in the Union Territory of Ladakh. So Gaurav Jani is traveling by his bike loner. Both of them started their journey, and after 3 days, they reached Delhi. In Delhi, they saw nothing different. Delhi was the same as Mumbai. They continued their journey, and after some days, they reached Manali. Where is Manali? Manali is in the state of Himachal Pradesh. Manali was very refreshing for them, and Gaurav Jani continued their journey and they reached their destination, that is Leh. Leh is in the Union Territory of Ladakh. They reached there and it was very wonderful for them. They were very happy. Gaurajani was very happy. He was very excited by seeing the cold desert of Leh. It was very different. And at Leh, he met a child named Tashi. He went into the home of Tashi and he understood their situations, their circumstances, their surroundings, their housing styles, their living styles, everything. Gaurav Jani understood their living styles. And let us continue the story. People living on the top of the world. Now was the time to climb higher. Lona had a tough time zigzagging along narrow rocky mountain roads. At many places there were no roads at all. Listen to me. Gaurav Jani on his bike loner reached the cold desert of Leh and they continued their journey. It was very difficult time for them because the roads were very difficult to travel. And Gaurav Jani called the people living there as the people living on the top of the world. What does it mean? Because the place where they reached was a higher place from the sea level and the people living there were living on a higher place. So Gaurav Jani called the people living there as the people living on the top of the world. They continued their journey and it was time for them to climb higher because it was a higher place. Loner had a tough time zigzagging along narrow rocky mountain roads. Don't you see the specialty of those roads? Those roads were narrow and those roads were rocky mountain roads. And listen, at many places there were no roads at all. There were no roads at many places. We continue. I was moving towards the rocky plains of Changtang. This place is at a height of almost 5,000 meters. It is so high that it is difficult to breathe normally. I had a headache and felt weak. Then I slowly got used to breathing in such air. For many days we kept wandering in this area with not a single human being in sight. No petrol pumps, no mechanics, only clear blue sky and many beautiful lakes around. Listen to me. At last, Loner and Gaurav Jani, they are about to reach a place called Changtang. Changtang is the place they are about to reach. It is a higher place. It is at a height of 5,000 meters from the sea level. And what is the specialty of higher places? Here it is written, it is very difficult. It is difficult to breathe normally because it is difficult to breathe normally in higher places and it was difficult to breathe there. Gaurav Jani had difficulty in the beginning, but later he got used to it. After some time, there was no problem for him to breathe. And look here, It is written the specialty of that place. No petrol pumps, no mechanics, only clear blue sky and many beautiful lakes around. There were no people. There were no people there. There were no petrol pumps, no mechanics. Nothing was there. Only clear blue sky and many beautiful lakes around. We continue. Many days and nights passed. Leonard and I kept moving ahead. Suddenly one morning I saw before me flat grassy land. Many sheep and goats were grazing there. Far in the distance I saw some tents. I wondered who lived there and what they were doing in this far out place. Listen to me. Gaurav Jani and Loner continued their journey. There were no people at that place, but after some days they saw a place where there were tents. There were tents, and it was there were some goats. There were many sheep, and there were many goats. So, what is the meaning of that? Gaurav Jani and Loner reached a place which was a flat grassy land, and there were many sheep and goats grazing there, and there were some tents. So they are going to see some special kind of people. Let us wait and see who are they. Now there are some activities for you to do. Ask these questions to yourself and find them out. We continue. The Changpa. There I met Namgyal and came to know about the Changpa, a tribe living on the mountains. The Changpa tribe was only about 5,000 people. The Changpas are always on the move with their goats and sheep. It is from these that they get all that they need: milk, meat, skin for tents, and wool for coats and sweaters. Their goats are their only treasure. If a family has more animals, it is considered more rich and important. From these special goats, they get wool for making the world famous pashmina wool. The Changpa graze their goats at higher and colder places so that the goats have more and softer hair. They stay high upon these mountains in very difficult conditions because that is where these goats can live. This is their life and their livelihood. Now listen to me. Gaurav Jani and Loner reached the place Changtang, and there they met a tribal community named Changpa. So Changpa is a tribal community. Changpa is a tribal community, and what is the specialty of the tribal community? There are only about 5,000 people in that tribal community. And do you know another specialty of the Changpas? The Changpas are always on the move with their goats and sheep. What does it mean? The Changpas are always moving and they move with their goats and with their sheep. The Changpas are living with their goats and with their sheep, and it is from these that they get all that they need: milk, meat, skin for tents, and wool for coats and sweaters. The Changpa tribal community make everything that they need. They need milk, they need meat, they need skin for tents, and they need wool for coats and sweaters. The Changpa tribal community make all these things from these goats, and it is written here their goats are their only treasure. Treasure means very valuable thing. Their goats are very valuable for them. If a family has more goats, then that family is considered very important or very rich. And do you know the specialty of these goats? It is from these goats that the world famous pashmina wool, the world famous pashmina wool is made. Pashmina wool is a world famous wool, and it is from these goats that pashmina wools are made. The Changpa graze their goats at higher and colder places to have soft and more fur for their goats. These goats live in these mountains at very higher places. And I remind you again, don't forget this. The specialty of this tribal community and these goats is that it is from these goats that pashmina wool is made. Pashmina wool is a world famous wool, and it is from these goats the Changpa tribal community make pashmina wool. I was carrying very little of my belongings on my motorcycle, but the Changpas carry everything that they own on their horses and yaks. It takes them only 2.5 hours to pack everything and move ahead. Within no time, they put up their tents at a chosen place. The luggage is unpacked and their homes are ready. Now listen to me. Gaurav Jani is saying that the Changpa tribal community, no, the Changpa tribal community, the people in the Changpa tribal community are moving people. They don't stay at a single place, they always move. And so they pack everything and they unpack everything within no time. Gaurav journey takes many hours to pack and many hours to unpack, but the people of the Changpa tribal community takes only little time. Gaurav Jani is saying that 2.5 hours. The people of the Changpa tribal community take only 2.5 hours to pack everything and move ahead. And they take only some time to unpack also. We continue. You are most welcome into our home, said Namgyal as he led me to the big cone shaped tent. Namgyal is a person from the Changpa tribal community and he gave welcome to Gaurav Jani to go to his house, and it is written here big cone shaped tent. So the houses where Changpa people live are big cone shaped tents. They call their tent Rebo. The people of Changpa tribal community call their tent Rebo. Yak hair is woven to make strips which are stitched together. These are strong and warm and protect them from the icy strong winds. I saw that the strips were tightly tied with iron sticks. The ground is dug about 2 feet deep. The tent is then put up around this on the higher part of the ground. Now listen to me. That place is very cold, no? That place is extremely cold. And the people make their houses and cover it with the hair of yak. Yak hair is woven to make strips. Why? Because they need to maintain warmth in the rooms. The world famous pashmina. I already told you about the world famous pashmina wool. Listen, pashmina wool is not an ordinary type of wool. It is world famous and it is very special. And think that it is made in India. So you should know about it. I have already explained the specialty of pashmina wool and some additional information is given here. You read it by yourself. It is very simple and try to understand. We continue. As we stepped into the tent, I realized that I could stand up straight. It was not like my tent. I also saw that the rebo was as big as a room of my flat in Mumbai. It was held up by two wooden poles in the middle. There was an opening to let out the smoke from the chula. Namgyal told that the design of this tent is more than 1,000 years old. The tent protected the Changpas from extreme cold. Listen to me. What is Rebo? Rebo is the tent where Changpa tribal community live. And Gaurav Jani is mentioning some specialties of the Rebo, that is the tent where Changpa tribal community live. And what are the specialties of the Rebo? The Rebo is actually very much higher. That means someone can easily stand up inside a rebo. It is not like the tent of Gaurav Jani. And the design of the rebo is very different. It is looking like a modern thing because there was an opening to let out the smoke from the chula. From the chula, smoke will come, and in the rebo, there was an opening to let out that smoke. And Namgyal told that the design of the rebo is 1,000 years old. Actually, the design of the rebo is very much modern, but its design is not modern. It was designed 1,000 years ago. Its design is 1,000 years old. So the Changpa tribal community is having a different lifestyle, and their lifestyle is better than the modern lifestyle. We continue. How cold must it be? In winters, the temperature drops many degrees below zero. The wind blows at 70 kilometers per hour. Imagine if you were on a bus which was going at this speed, how far from your house would you reach in 1 hour? Gaurav Jani is mentioning that during winter, the temperature at that place, Changtang is the place, the temperature at Changtang drops below zero. And he is also saying that the wind blows at 70 kilometers per hour. Listen, 70 kilometers per hour means in 1 hour we can travel 70 kilometers. So if we are going by a bus which travels at 70 kilometers per hour speed, we can reach 70 kilometers in an hour. So the wind at Changtang is blowing at a speed of 70 kilometers. It is very fast, isn't it? Near the Rebo, there was a place to keep sheep and goats. Changpas call this leka. The walls of a leka are made with stones. Each family puts a special mark on their own animals. The women and young girls count and take the animals out of the leka. Listen to me. Gaurav Jani is saying about the leka. What is the lega? Lega is a shed where Changpa tribal community grow their Pashmina goat. I already told you that Changpa tribal community has goats and sheep, and these goats and sheep are put in the lega. Lega is the shed where the Changpa tribal community look after their sheep and goats. Here some questions are asked. These are asked to yourself, ask it yourself and try to answer them. Now look at the picture. This is the place of Changtang. Changtang is a higher place and this is that place. Changtang is very high from the sea level, and you can see the place of Changtang in the picture. Don't you see some tents? There is a tent in the picture now. The people living in the place of Changtang live in the tents. I mentioned you about the place Changtang, and this is the picture of Changpa tribal community. This is their one picture. Changpa tribal community live on the Changtang, and you can see a picture of the Changpa tribal community. Don't you see sheep and goats with them? These are the Pashmina goats, and this is the Changpa tribal community. Now look at the picture. Don't you see some goats? These are the Pashmina goats, and look at their skin. The hair or their fur is very long. This is the hair from which Pashmina wool is made. So these are the Pashmina goats. Towards Srinagar. I spent a few days with the Changpas, but sadly it was time to move on. My return journey would take me away from this special part of the world towards towns which looked like a totally different world. This time I took a different route from Leh. I was going towards Srinagar via Kargil. I saw many more amazing buildings and different houses. Now listen to me. Gaurav Jani wanted to see something different and he traveled from Mumbai to Changtang to Leh to Ladakh. He saw many different things and he was very happy. He spent some days with the Changpa tribal community and he is going back because he cannot stay there forever now. He should go back. Now we are going to see his return journey. In his return journey, he is going to Srinagar. Where is Srinagar? Srinagar is the capital of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. So Srinagar is in Jammu and Kashmir. So Gaurav Jani is going to Srinagar, and in Srinagar also Gaurav Jani wanted to see something different. Let us see what he saw different in Srinagar. I stayed in Srinagar for a few days. I was amazed by the houses there. They took my heart away. Some houses are on the mountains, while some are on water. I took many pictures of these. See my photo album? So Gaurav Jani reached Srinagar and he stayed there for some days. Gaurav Jani saw different variety of houses in Srinagar. There were houses in water, there were houses on mountains, and Gaurav Jani was very happy because he saw different varieties of houses. And Gaurav Jani has shared with us the pictures of these houses in his photo album. Let us see his photo album. These are the houses he saw in Srinagar. Don't you see houses on water? And there are houses on mountains. These are varieties of houses that he saw in Srinagar. Read those pictures and look at those pictures and try to understand. We continue. When I started my journey, I had not imagined that in one state I would see so many different kinds of houses and lifestyles. I had a wonderful experience of living on the mountains in Leh and another of living on waters in Srinagar. I saw how both the houses in these areas were made to suit the climate. Now listen to me. Gaurav Jani is saying that he was amazed or he was wondered because he did not imagine that he could see that much varieties of things in one state. In the beginning, he was in Leh, he was in Ladakh, and he was in Changta. All these places are in the Union Territory of Ladakh. And from there, he went to Srinagar. And where is this Srinagar? It is in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Before some years, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh were in one state, that is the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And Gaurav Jani saw many varieties of houses, many varieties of lifestyles in one state, that is the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Listen, I saw how both the houses in these areas were made to suit the climate. In Jammu and Kashmir, the places were having different climate, and according to the climate, each places had different varieties of housing styles. In Srinagar, there were houses on water, and in Leh, there were houses on mountains. So, within one state, there were many varieties of housing styles. And Gaurav Jani was very happy because he saw variety of housing styles. Return journey. Again, it was time to move on. In Jammu, I saw houses like I have been seeing in Mumbai. The same cement, brick, steel, and glass. These houses are very strong, but they are not as special as the houses I was lucky to see in Leh and Srinagar. Listen, Gaurav Jani is continuing his return journey, and from Srinagar, he reached Jammu. Where is Jammu? Jammu is in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. From Srinagar, Gaurav Jani reached Jammu. And what did he see in Jammu? In Jammu, Gaurav Jani saw the same types of houses he was seeing in Mumbai. The houses made of cement, brick, steel, and glass. Gaurav Jani is tired of seeing these types of houses. He is saying that these houses are very strong, but they are not special. Gaurav Jani saw some varieties of houses in Leh and Srinagar now. Gaurav Jani is saying that the houses in Leh and Srinagar are very special, but the houses in Jammu and Mumbai are only strong, but they are not special. We continue. After a long journey, Loner and I were about to reach Mumbai. My heart felt heavy. I also felt that my motorcycle did not want to come back. I was happy that I had learned and experienced so many new things. I had also brought back some memories in my camera. And of course, this was not the end. Next time, when Loner and I get bored of the city, we will again set out for a new journey. So Gaurav Jani and Lona are about to reach Mumbai. They will reach Mumbai very soon. So their trip is about to finish, and Gaurav Jani is saying that his heart felt heavy. That means he is very sad. And Loner, his motorcycle, also did not want to come back. Why? Because both of them are tired of the city life, the life in Mumbai, and they are back to Mumbai and they don't like to live there and they are very sad. But Gaurav Jani is saying that this is not the end. He is saying that Loner and I get bored of the city, we will again set out for a new journey. Next time, when Loner and Gaurav Jani get bored of the city, they will go again. He is saying that. Now there are some activities given here. Read these activities and try to do it by yourself. There are some things to discuss and write. Read them and try to discuss it with yourself. These are very simple. I have already explained. Try to do them. And let us summarize the chapter. What did we learn? What we have learned? You read about different kinds of shelters in Jammu and Kashmir. Some on high mountains, some on water, some with beautiful designs in wood and stone, and some mobile shelters that can even be packed and carried to another place. So listen, we learned or we read in the chapter about different varieties of houses. There are many types of houses. Some houses can be folded and taken. They are mobile houses like tents. Then there are concrete buildings. There are houses on water as we saw in Srinagar. There are houses on mountains as we saw in Ladakh, Leh and Changtang, etc. etc. The houses in city are different from the houses in villages. The houses on mountains are different from the houses on water. So there are many varieties of houses and Gaurav Jani gave us an idea about many varieties of houses. So here we finish the travel diary of Gaurav Jani and Nona. All of you read the chapter and try to understand it. We can see you next time. All of you take care. Bye.